My next guest was a teacher in an English primary school who was informed that one of her pupils would be clandestinely presenting as the opposite, quote, gender from that she was, quote, assigned at birth, as we now say. The teacher would be expected to go along with it. She declined to do so, so she was sacked. And she's now taking the school's board of governors to court over her concerns for the child's welfare. Due to a court order, we have to preserve her anonymity. So this is the United Kingdom in 2022. A teacher who objects to the new trans orthodoxy has to be interviewed as if she's an IRA informant in fear of her life. We've given her the name Hannah, and I spoke to her earlier. Hannah, this just blew up out of the blue, as it were, for you. I think you just decided that this so-called transgender boy, you could not in good conscience treat that person as a boy.
I think it's harmful to children. I think it's the affirmative approach is really affirming their belief that they're born in a wrong body, that their identity doesn't match their body. And if they're uncomfortable with that, then the solution to that discomfort is to change their appearance. So I believe that that starts them down a road that can lead to mental, emotional, and physical harm. And it's not something we should be supporting in schools or encouraging young children to start that path, really.
The headmaster, I understand, told you that basically this is something that everybody's agreed on. They've taken advice from Stonewall, which is always described as a charity, but in fact they're activists. So the idea of presenting them as a charity is a little dubious to me. And also the local council and the Church of England diocese even say that this girl, as you see her, must be treated as a boy, as Stonewall and the council and the Church of England see her.
Yeah, so what happened initially when I was struggling to support this, I initially contacted the head teacher by phone, and they said to me that I had no choice in the matter because the family had requested this, so I was acting in loco parentis. I had to support this child. The head teacher asked me to stay at home while they sought advice. So they went to HR and and they took advice from, as they wrote to me, they said they'd taken advice from Stonewall and the local diocese. And all of the advice was that we should affirm this child. And whilst they did accommodate me to some extent, they removed the child from my class. They were insisting that at any point where I had to address the child directly, I should still use the name and pronouns that the family had requested. So we couldn't come to an agreement on that. And that led to my suspension.
So the girl who presents as a boy in the class as an 8-year-old, 9-year-old, and then a couple of years on, they're going to start putting that person on puberty blockers and actually changing the biology. That's where this is all headed.
Well, I think that's always the danger. You see, when a kid is prepubescent, as I've witnessed with this particular child, it's very, very easy to pass as the opposite sex. It would be actually quite hard to not to call them by the name and pronouns that they request, because they're very convincing, and that's very easy with a prepubescent child. But of course, as they start to grow, their body doesn't lie. It starts to develop. If you're in a girl's body, it will develop as a girl's body. And so they have to take more invasive measures, I suppose,
Right.
to try to disguise their body. And therefore they start to maybe go after thinking, well, maybe if I'm a girl, I need to get a chest binder or something, or
Yeah.
the whole thing of puberty. It's like, well, perhaps I should just try to put that whole process on hold. And so they begin to go after these things. And I think the reason...
Let me just ask you about that, Hannah, because these are irreversible consequences. They can make you infertile. If you change your mind, it's too late to go back to being a girl and have a baby because your fertility has been wrecked and all the rest of it. Why is it that on an issue where there is no societal consensus, that the schools, basically primary schools, have become only interested in the affirming side and basically just gone headlong down that particular path?
I think there are, again, many reasons. One is I know from what the training that we were given as staff, was that there wasn't any other way presented. You aren't presented with any other way of supporting these children. And if you're ignorant about that, then you might well think that affirmation is the only way to go. I think one of the biggest voices in this is the whole thing of being inclusive, respecting diversity. The message goes out that if you don't affirm children, it's going to cause them deep distress, that it's probably going to do more harm to the child. And that is very dubious, that message, but that's the one you're given. So I think there's a sense of, in schools, that, oh, well, we better do this, we don't want to hurt children. But I also think, from my experience, that if you do present an opposing view or you question it, you are going to face the consequences of doing that. You might be considered to be phobic or discriminatory. You are certainly likely, as I've experienced, to possibly lose your job as a result.
Let me ask you about that just finally, Hannah, because you've lost your career, you've been sacked, you're facing some tough choices and you're fighting it in court. If it's the case that virtually every headmaster or headmistress across the British Isles is fully on board with this, are you not worried that actually the legal system may be stacked against you too, and the judges are just going to be on board with all this stuff?
It does feel as if it's all stacked against you, but I think we need to be questioning, well, why is that? What's informing those head teachers? Why are they feeling? I think many head teachers feel pressured to go along with this.
You're right, Hannah. The headmasters feel pressurized. I've no doubt that whatever idiotic Church of England diocese that was also feels pressurized. But in the end, there is no societal consensus on this, and someone has to resist at some point, which is what you are doing, and we shall see how that works out for you in court these days. Thank you very much for talking to us, Hannah, and we wish you well with this very significant legal battle. Thank you very much.